Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to Football Discussions. And today we're coming at you with a brand new 2021 NFL mock draft. And guys, shit just went down. Two blockbuster trades in the draft, and I mean, this is how crazy this is. I was about to post a mock draft for you yesterday. I finished recording, and I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll post it tomorrow, and then right at the end of school today, all this shit just broke. My mind is frazzled, but I made a mock draft for you guys. I want to get it out to you. Whatever just happened was very crazy. We're going to go over it in depth. Obviously, the 49ers trade up with the Dolphins to get to that number 3 spot. Obviously, wanting to take a quarterback. I'll show you which quarterback I selected. And then the Dolphins trade back up to 6, and I'll explain my thought process about that trade as well. But a bunch of crazy stuff going on with the NFL draft. Thought I had to come on here and make a mock draft. I'm glad I didn't post it when I recorded yesterday. And before we get started, we're so close to 1,000 subs. So if you like draft content, I'm going to be posting a lot more frequently. Took a small break from YouTube, but getting right back into it. It's almost draft time, basically a month away, guys. So hopefully more crazy shit like this keeps happening. But again, please hit that subscribe button, and let's get right into this draft, starting off with the number 1 overall pick that belongs to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I have them obviously taking Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback out of Clemson. This one's set in stone. Thank God none of this changed, or else it would have been really effed up. But for right now, I think the number 1 overall pick is still set in stone. And Trevor Lawrence, highest rated quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck. Jacksonville Jaguars get their quarterback of the future in Trevor Lawrence. At the 2 spot, yesterday I had the Jets trading back. Now today I have them staying here because what we've heard about these trades today is that all these teams, the Eagles, the 49ers, and a few other teams were trying to trade up to number 2 with New York because everyone is so high on Zach Wilson right now. The Jets didn't budge. They didn't even take that 3 first-round package that the Dolphins got for trading with the 49ers, which is absolutely absurd. Just goes to show how much the Jets are in on Zach Wilson right now. So the Jets trade up to the number 2 overall pick, get the Jets stay at the number 2 overall pick, take Zach Wilson, get their quarterback of the future. And also what this means is there's going to be a lot of interesting movement around Sam Darnold now that we know that the Jets are staying sound at number 2 and looking to take quarterback in Zach Wilson. So it's going to be really interesting to see if Sam Darnold ends up on a team like the football team, if Sam Darnold ends up on a team like Denver, maybe New England. There's a lot of different destinations for this kid. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. But again, this has been a really, really crazy day. So let's move on to where the chaos is going to start at that 3 spot, and it's via that trade. So the 49ers gave up 3 first-round picks, a 2021, number 12 overall, a 2022, and a 2023 to the Dolphins, as well as a 3rd-round pick to the Dolphins for this 3 overall spot. You're not giving up that much draft capital to take anyone but a quarterback, and the quarterback that they take is going to be very interesting. I know Chris Sims' quarterback rankings came out. We've discussed them on the channel, and he's very, very close with Kyle Shanahan, and he's been hinting at the fact that it's Mac Jones. In good conscience, I cannot put Mac Jones above Trey Lance and Justin Fields right now. I still think that teams have to be higher on Justin Fields and Trey Lance than Mac Jones, but if Chris Sims is saying that, I think there might be some sort of truth to it. However, I do believe that the 49ers are higher on Trey Lance than they are on Justin Fields. That's what we've heard all draft season, so I think this is a really realistic spot for Trey Lance to go. They obviously like what they see in one of these 3 remaining quarterbacks. They try to trade up to 2. Zach Wilson was obviously their first choice. Now that he's off the board, it's going to be really interesting to see what the 49ers do here at 3. For right now, in my opinion, I think they're highest on Trey Lance. That's what I've been hearing. But again, it could be Mac Jones. It could be Justin Fields. It could go in a bunch of different directions here. Too hard to predict. But as of right now, I'm going to mock Trey Lance to the 49ers. Again, this is definitely a quarterback. There's no way you gave up 3 first-round picks for it to not be a quarterback. So they're very high on one of these guys. It's just a matter of which one. And for right now, I'm sticking with Trey Lance. So it's going to be really interesting to see on draft day which of these quarterbacks the Niners take. At the 4 spot, with the run of quarterbacks going, I think the Falcons probably like Justin Fields a little more than Trey Lance. It's basically a toss-up right now between those two. This could even be a Mac Jones spot. I really don't know where the GMs are ranking him right now. Most of the insiders are saying higher than most of like the media world is ranking Mac Jones. A lot of teams apparently have him as their 3rd overall quarterback. So again, this could be a Mac Jones spot. For right now, I'm mocking Justin Fields. I'm doing 4 quarterbacks in a row. It's a quarterback heavy draft. All of these guys would be first overall picks in their respective classes if it weren't for this being such a heavy quarterback stacked draft class. So for right now, I'm putting Justin Fields to the Falcons and giving them their quarterback of the future. Now, Matt Ryan obviously has an opt-out in his contract next year where the Falcons can basically cut him with no cap penalty. So this provides a good bridge quarterback. I don't think Justin Fields is a player that you can plug and play right away. So allowing him to grow a little bit under Matt Ryan, I think, would be really good for his game. And hopefully he can bring a little Mike Vick-esque play to Atlanta, in which they once had over there at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now, this is also another interesting pick. It's the 5th overall pick, and I have been a long advocate that the Bengals need to draft an offensive tackle, and if they don't draft an offensive tackle, I will be very, very upset. I think it's a disgrace if they don't. However, I'm thinking, why are the Dolphins trading back up to 6? Right? So let's see. They could either be in love with a prospect like Jamar Chase or a DeVonta Smith or a Jalen Waddle, but they could also probably get one of those guys at 12, which is why it's an interesting trade back up for me for the Dolphins. So in my head, I'm thinking, do they think the Bengals are going to take a Kyle Pitts or take a Jamar Chase, and Penei Sewell could fall right into the Dolphins' lap at 6? Obviously, the Isaiah Wilson fiasco is leaving them without a right tackle right now. You can move Robert Hunt to that role. You can move maybe Austin Jackson in that role and put Penei Sewell at left tackle. So I think that, in my opinion, is the most probable thing happening here, that the Dolphins are expecting the Bengals to select a playmaker instead of an offensive tackle at 5, where then Penei Sewell will fall into the Dolphins' lap at 6, if that makes any sense. So at 5, based off that hypothesis, I'm going to put Kyle Pitts here to the Bengals. Again, I don't agree with this personally. I genuinely think they have to go Penei Sewell if he's available. Even if he's not, I think they should go RASHAWN SLATER. They got to protect Joe Burrow. But for right now, in my opinion, that's what I'm thinking with the trade back up from the Dolphins. So Bengals take Kyle Pitts. Again, a generational talent. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's a tremendous football player. I think he's the best pass catcher in this class. So it's not necessarily a bad value pick, but team need-wise, I don't agree with it for the Bengals, which is why I'm a bit iffy here. And then at 6, like I was just hinting at, I think the Dolphins trade back up because they think they can get Penei Sewell and protect their franchise quarterback, or who they hope can be their franchise quarterback, in Tua Tagovailoa. So I know that's a lot in the top 6 picks, but that's kind of just my thought process going on right now. I decided to make this a pretty weird mock draft as well. I added a few trades later in the draft just to make it even more exciting. But for right now, I think as the top 6 goes, that's what I'm envisioning with these trades that just happened. That's what I think is going to happen based on all these trades that just happened, right? So for right now, I'm going with that. Those are my top 6 picks, and let's move on to number 7, where I have the Detroit Lions taking Jamar Chase, the wide receiver out of LSU. Now, this is another stud, physical beast at the line of scrimmage. Great release, great hands, great high point ability with the ball, is able to get jump balls very easily. He's a physical dominance at the receiver position, great route runner as well. I think he's the full package. I think DeVonta Smith is a little less flawed. Maybe you want Jamar Chase's route running to be a bit cleaner. Maybe you want his hands to be a bit more consistent. And while DeVonta Smith possesses all those things, he doesn't come close to the physical traits that Jamar Chase has. This is a guy that kinda, in a way, resembles Megatron, and don't hate me, I'm not saying he's going to be anywhere close to Megatron, but Detroit, that's the closest thing you're going to get in a very long time out of any of these next few draft classes. I think Jamar Chase is just that physical dominance that Megatron was. So, again, not saying he'll be comparable to Megatron, but he's got a little bit of Megatron DeAndre Hopkins-esque in his game. So the Lions take him to boost their receiver core and get Jared Goofball a weapon. At 8, now Panthers fans, don't hate me. I know most of you probably don't want Mac Jones, but again, a lot of people are ranking him pretty high. From what I'm hearing from the insiders, it sounds like Mac Jones is the 3rd quarterback in a lot of GM's opinions. I think he might be the 2nd most pro-ready quarterback, if not the 3rd, right behind Zach Wilson. But he's a very good player. He doesn't really do anything wrong. It's just the arm strength isn't there. The athleticism isn't necessarily there. But he's dead accurate, has a great IQ, and a really good football player. And who was he paired up with at the Senior Bowl? Head coach of the Panthers, Matt Rule. So there's already a relationship going here. I think Joe Brady's a fantastic quarterback coach, and I have the Panthers getting their quarterback of the future in Mac Jones out of Alabama and putting him into an offense that he's already familiar with, ran it at the Senior Bowl, familiar with the coaching staff. I think it's a fun concept to mock Mac Jones at 8. At 9, now we have a trade, and again, Broncos fans don't hate me, Jets fans don't hate me. I think this is a great trade for both sides, and I'll explain why. From everything I'm hearing from Benjamin Albright, which is the Broncos' main insider, it sounds like a trade back. I'm a Broncos fan. I don't want to trade back. I would love to take Micah Parsons right here. I think that would be the best pick for the Broncos. But from what I'm hearing right now from the people that are smarter than me, it sounds like Denver's going to trade back. So I have New York jumping back up. They kept their number 2 overall pick, got Zach Wilson, and now they get him a weapon to go alongside Corey Davis, make one of the most electric receiving cores in the NFL. The Jets are trading 23, a 2 and a 3 this year, as well as a future 2 to the Denver for 9 and the Broncos' second-round pick. So the Broncos and the Jets swap first rounds, swap second rounds. Obviously, that second round or for the Jets is higher than the Broncos' second rounder was. So I know that sounds confusing, but again, the Broncos are moving up in the second round as well as moving down in the first round, and the Jets are moving up in the first round, moving down in the second round, giving up a third-round pick and giving a future 2. So it's a big package. Both sides are giving up a bit, but again, the Broncos trade back. They they swap 2s and move up in the second round. They gain a 3 and gain a future 2, as well as move back quite a few picks here in the first round. And the Jets get a dynamic playmaker in Jaylen Waddle. This is a guy that can do basically anything at the wide receiver position, line up anywhere, creates great separation, and it would be so much fun to watch Zach Wilson throw to this guy. And again, they got a 2 back, so the Jets can go for corner or edge in the second round. They have a great position in the second round now with the trade. Getting a second, it's not like they don't pick in the second and they pick again in the third. They only give up one of their third-round picks. So it's a good deal for both sides. Jaylen Waddle becomes a New York Jet. You get your new franchise quarterback, a new weapon to play with. You already got Corey Davis. You're building a really solid offense there in New York. Salah's defense will always be good. I think the offense has to be the main concern for the Jets. So that's why I have them trading back up and getting Jaylen Waddle at 9. All right, sorry, that's a lot in the top 9. Let's move on to number 10, where we have the Dallas Cowboys getting Patrick Surtain Jr., the cornerback out of Alabama. I was debating Rashawn Slater here, especially with the lack of Dak's mobility next year, and they might want to focus on protecting him. But when thinking back on what hurt the Cowboys the most last year, it was the abysmal secondary play. And Patrick Surtain right now is the cleanest corner. He's the guy that's going to get it done for you the most consistently out of any of these corners in the class. Yeah, Horn has the great athleticism. Farley might even be more talented than Surtain, but with the back surgery, might not be as durable. I think Patrick Surtain's the safest pick at corner, the guy that you know is going to instantly produce for you and produce for you for a long time. So that's what the Cowboys do at 10. They get Surtain to help up their secondary. At 11, Giants fans, you might want DeVonta Smith here. I don't think that you could pass on Rashawn Slater, though. It's an instant boost for Daniel Jones, who has had so many fumbling issues in the past. Now, if you keep developing Andrew Thomas on the left side, you get Rashawn Slater on the right side. It's a really nice bookend pairing for the New York Giants. You get some protection. Again, DeVonta Smith on the board could certainly be the pick. Micah Parsons on the board could certainly be the pick. But I think this is the safer route for the Giants to go, and they invest in Daniel Jones and protect him even more. At 12, so this is via that Dolphins trade, 49ers moved up to, the Dolphins moved back to 12, then moved up to 6 with the Eagles, and now the Eagles are back to where the 49ers were picking. So kind of a three-way trade in a weird way, but not really. Regardless, I have the Eagles getting DeVonta Smith. This is a dream scenario for Philadelphia. Not only do you gain a future first rounder, but you get an electric playmaker, the most consistent, safe wide receiver pick in this class. This guy has no flaws except for being small. I think he's going to drop due to his size, but he's still a really, really talented player. He's the smartest player in this entire class, regardless of position. He just gets football. I love DeVonta Smith, and I love the pairing in Philadelphia. Gives Jalen Hurts an immediate upgrade at wide receiver over anyone on that team, and gets him a weapon to throw to. At 13 now, we have Elijah Vera-Tucker going to the Los Angeles Chargers. This is a guy that can play tackle. He can play guard. He can do anything. The Chargers definitely need to invest in some offensive line to protect their franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. Balled out his rookie year. Now they get some protection for him. Again, invest in your future. That's what the name of the game is right now. So the Chargers get an offensive lineman to protect Justin Herbert in the long run. Another trade here, Miami has a plethora of draft capital, and they're not even giving up that much here to move up to 14 and get the best defensive player in the class. So Miami trades 18, a 3, and a future 5 to Minnesota. That's one of, I think, 3 threes or one of 2 threes that Miami has. Regardless, they're only giving up a 1, a 3, and a 5, but they're only moving up 4 spots, and it's not in the top 10. So the draft stock obviously loses its, or the draft picks lose their capital a bit more. and they get the best defensive player in the class. Minnesota isn't really in a position to take anyone right here, so it makes sense for them to trade back. I would like them to get Elijah Vera-Tucker if he's available, but again, the Chargers just took him. Minnesota doesn't necessarily have to trade anyone or draft anyone here. They can get more capital with the trade back, and that's exactly what happens. And Miami moves up and gets the best defensive player in the class, a great linebacker to pair alongside Jerome Baker, one of the most fun, exciting linebacker duos in the NFL if this somehow happens, which again, it's a mock draft, it won't. But again, this is a really fun scenario. I thought it'd be another fun trade to include in here. So the Dolphins trade up with the Vikings and get Micah Parsons. At 15, Micah Parsons would have been the dream pick for the New England Patriots. I think Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is still a really, really good linebacker. He's another guy that really does nothing wrong. Great in pass coverage, great at run stopping. He's a tremendous athlete. Everything you want in today's NFL at the linebacker position, and the Patriots do need an upgrade there. Hightower's getting old. Is he even coming back to the Patriots? I don't think that's been determined yet. Regardless, they're going to need an upgrade at the position sooner than later, and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah can provide that upgrade for New England. At 16, again, with Caleb Farley's back injury, JC Horn's the safer pick, and he's a fast riser right now. I've seen him going as high as top 10 with that athleticism and length that he possesses. He's a really, really good corner, technically sound. I think he is still a little scheme dependent, and I think the Cardinal scheme fits him pretty well. He fits right in with Byron Murphy. Obviously, they let Pat Pete go, so now the Arizona Cardinals replace Pat Pete, get JC Horn, add another piece to their secondary. I think a trade back and picking a running back is another possibility here for the Cardinals. I would even love to see them trade up early in the second round and draft a running back with letting Kenyon Drake go. Maybe a Najee Harris to pair alongside Chase Edmonds would make for a really good duo over there in Arizona. But again, secondary is a more valuable position than running back and a more important need right now for the Cardinals than running back is. So that's why I take JC Horn at 16. At 17, it's not even worth trying to mock for the Raiders because Mike Mayock always does something really weird. But they decimated their offensive line this offseason. I don't see them going any other route other than offensive line. And Christian Darrisaw is a technically sound guy. He's really not going to make any mistakes. Doesn't have the ceilings that Slater and Sewell do, but he's still a really good player. I think he's the clear-cut offensive tackle 3, offensive tackle 4 if you put Elijah Vera-Tucker at tackle. But again, a technically sound guy, a guy that can come in and play right away for Las Vegas. They desperately need help along their offensive line, so it's just a pick that makes sense for Las Vegas. At 18, this is via the Dolphins trade. The Vikings trade back, and now they go edge. Get Jalen Phillips, who I think is the best edge in this class. Really, the only thing that's holding him back right now is injuries. That's why his stock had fallen so far, and that's why he worked his way back up to being one of the top edge prospects in this class this year. When he's on the field and he's healthy, he produces, he excites GMs. He's a really, really fun player. Jalen Phillips to the Vikings, their Danielle Hunter sidekick or replacement, because earlier in the month it sounded like the Vikings were accepting or hearing trade offers. Fielding trade offers is the word I'm looking for Danielle Hunter. So regardless, they're going to need an edge if Danielle continues to be unhappy in Minnesota or they want someone to pair alongside him. Jalen Phillips can be that guy. At 19, as fun it would be to give, the football team maybe Rashad Bateman here, maybe Kadarius Toney here, Elijah Moore here to pair alongside with Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel now. I think tackle needs to be the team's main focus. I would love to see the football team trade for Sam Darnold. I love Ryan Fitzpatrick. Is he the future? Probably not. So I would love to see the football team trade for a quarterback. With the top 5 being off the board, though, there's really no need to reach here. Jalen Mayfield is a really, really great run blocking tackle. He can pass block as well, but I think the football team's going to be focusing on a lot of play action next year, a lot of run blocking, and I think Jalen Mayfield can fill that role beautifully for the Washington football team. At 20, this is kind of a boring pick for the Chicago Bears and kind of a reach. But again, their offensive line needs a lot of help. You got to protect QB1 and Andy Dalton. I'm sorry, Bears fans. That was a low blow. I'm sorry that your franchise has treated you this poorly on a real note. I feel horrible for you. But regardless, your QB1 is Andy Dalton next year, and he's going to need some protection. Sam COSMI is just a guy that's always been around, hanging in the first round, maybe early second round caliber player. But again, a tackle that does a lot right, technically sound, much like Christian Darrisaw, good pass blocker. Just build those hog mollies up in Chicago because that's really all you can hang on to for hope right now. I think Sam COSMI is a good player, and he fills a need for Chicago at 20. At 21, this is a really fun pick. I love Michael Pittman. I think he was one of the steals of the draft last year. I'm happy they brought TY back, but it's only a one-year deal. They're going to need a wide receiver anyway. And then the rest of these receivers, you can point to Zach Pascal as one of them, Paris Campbell as another. They're really not starting level caliber receivers. Yeah, Zach Pascal's had some good games, but I think KADARIUS TONEY is an immediate upgrade over all these guys. He could potentially be their wide receiver 1 next year. He's an underrated route runner. He's got great hands. He is, electric in the open field. Just an overall beast at the wide receiver position. Really, really would like this pick for Indianapolis. I think it's a great fit as a whole. And get Carson Wentz another weapon to throw to, which is something that he lacks so much of in Philadelphia. At 22, yes, Caleb Farley is finally off the board. He's going to the Tennessee Titans at 22. They take the risk on him. Again, the back procedure is a little nerve-wracking for GMs. I think he might even fall further than this. But when he's on the field and he's healthy, he is so, so good. He's got the track speed. He's got the length. And, of course, he's got the skill. Again, he might even be more talented than Patrick Surtain. Patrick Surtain's just a safer pick. Played last year. Farley obviously opted out. And now with this back procedure, that's even another red flag. Not that opting out's a red flag. It's his decision fully. But again, there hasn't been a lot of tape on him as a whole at cornerback. So it is a risky pick. But if you hit on it, it's probably going to be the steal of the draft. So that's why I think it's worth it for Tennessee. They desperately need help in their secondary. I don't think Desmond King has signed back. Obviously, they let Adoree Jackson go. There's a lot of holes in that Tennessee secondary right now. So Caleb Farley could fill that role beautifully for the Titans. At 23, this is via that Jets trade that we mocked. I thought that was a little fun trade, and again, I'm hearing a lot about the Broncos trading back. They got good value for it, and they take Jabril Cox, the linebacker out of LSU, and here's why, Broncos fans. Who gives you the most fits on offense in your division? Travis Kelce and Darren Waller, because the Broncos do not have a linebacker that can cover these guys. That's exactly what Jabril Cox is. He's the best coverage linebacker I've ever scouted ever. He's talented. He's elite at coverage. He's a consistent tackler, has great length. Look at his arms, dude. He's basically a safety playing the linebacker position and a consistent tackler as well. A really, really fun prospect, a really good player, and someone that fills that role of having to guard Travis Kelce, having to guard Darren Waller in that division in Denver. Another guy that can just play, and a great pickup here for Denver at 23. At 24, Steelers fans, don't hate me, but there's really not a better player that you can take at this point in time. And I know running backs are a replaceable position. I know you can get running backs that are just as good in the 3rd, 4th round. But I think Najee Harris is genuinely a really, really good talent here at running back. He's got great hands out the backfield. That's something that's really underrated. He's great in pass pro. And, of course, he's a fantastic runner. And not only is the power back, but he's pretty elusive as well. He fits the mold of what the Steelers are trying to do next year, which is, hang on to Big Ben for one more year, probably turn more to a ground and pound type team, short throws like they did a bunch of last year. I think Najee Harris fits that offense perfectly. At 25, I would have loved to see the Jacksonville Jaguars address safety and free agency. Unfortunately, they did not, and Trayvon Mulrig is still on the board. He's someone that I really like. He can play in the nickel. He can play in the box. He's a bit undersized for the box, but he's a great tackler. He's good in coverage as well. Trayvon Mulrig to the Jags is just a pick that makes sense as well. At 26, obviously Azeez Ojulari isn't from Miami. That's a typo on my part, but he is from Georgia. Azeez Ojulari to the Browns. This is a dream scenario for the Browns. Azeez Ojulari, one of the more technically sound edge rushers in this class, gets consistent pressure. He had the highest pressure rate out of any of the edge rushers in this class. A really, really good player. Yeah, he's a bit undersized, but I think he fills a need for the Browns immediately, and a great player to pair alongside Myles Garrett. So a really, really fun pickup here for the Browns. Someone that I would really like to see play right away in Cleveland and wreak havoc in opponents' backfields with Myles Garrett and Azeez Ojulari. At 27, another edge rusher off the board, back-to-back AFC North teams, back-to-back edge rushers off the board. KWITY PAYE, he's your Matt Judon replacement. This could also be a Rashad Bateman spot. I think the Baltimore Ravens will end up signing Sammy Watkins. Not that he's a great receiver or anything, but he definitely allows you to have a little more flexibility in the first round if you don't want to take a wide receiver and want to focus on edge. KWITY PAYE was a guy that has been projected in the top 10, a guy that has been projected in the top 15. I think he's more of a Jadeveon Clowney type than anything, which is not necessarily what you want in today's NFL. He's a fantastic run stopper, and the pass rush numbers were there percentage-wise, but he didn't generate much sacks. And I know sacks aren't anything or everything, but it's definitely something you want to see more of, and it's something that was kind of missing from Kwity Paye's game. Regardless, I still think he's a good player. I think it's a good pick for Baltimore, and it's a safe pick for Baltimore, replacing Matt Judon with Kwity Paye. At 28, Greg Newsome has been another fast riser. I think with Marshawn Lattimore's recent arrest, the Saints might not hang on to him much longer. A trade was kind of in the future in the cards anyway for Marshawn Lattimore with the current cap situation. But regardless, I think Greg Newsome definitely fills a role. Even if Marshawn Lattimore is capped, they need a CB2. Greg Newsome got great length, a boundary guy, and a guy that can play really, really good football. Great athlete, good ball skills as well. I think it's just a smart pick for the Saints to go with him here. At 29, this is a pick that I really, really, really want to happen, but kind of low-key don't think it will because the Packers never take a receiver in the first round or the second round, mind you. Regardless, Elijah Moore is just an electric playmaker. He just ran in the 4.4 or maybe even 4.3. Yeah, it was in the 4.3s. A really, really athletic player, an underrated route runner. I think he's definitely worth a first-round pick, someone that I'm really, really fond of. And if the Packers had the balls to take him, this offense would go from great to fantastic and be with the likes of the Chiefs, maybe even beat the Bucs next year and make a Super Bowl push with Aaron Rodgers. I really like Elijah Moore, and I would love to see him in Green Bay. At 30, I have Aaron Robinson going to the Buffalo Bills to play alongside Tre'Davious White. He's a really physical corner. I love his aggressiveness. He's a very strong guy. Doesn't necessarily have the technique down, but athletically, he's one of the more fun players in this class and definitely someone that, with the right coaching staff, can develop. And when you're picking from anywhere from 20 to 32, I think you have the coaching staff that can develop talents. You're already a playoff team. I think Aaron Robinson, qualifies in that role, and so do the Bills. So definitely a project at corner, but someone that, again, can play right away and could potentially have one of the higher ceilings out of any corner in this class. At 31, I got Jamin Davis going to the Kansas City Chiefs. He's another really athletic linebacker, someone that I really like. He's been a fast riser as well, based off that athleticism. He's a consistent tackler. He's really good in the box, and a guy that can also drop back in coverage with that athleticism. So a really good player for the Chiefs to pick up here, because they got to guard Darren Waller and Noah Fant too, right? So a good player, a fun player for the Chiefs to draft, and I think they address defense finally, as they've been all offense in recent years. At 32, to round up the first round and this mock draft, I got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going Gregory Rousseau. Not only is this a smart pick for the future, because you do have a guy like JPP that's probably on his way out, but it's a pick for now, because while Ndamukong Suh was good last year, Gregory Rousseau can play on the interior defensive line as well. He lined up there quite a bit for Miami. He has the size to do so, the tools to do so. He can generate pressure right alongside Vita Vea. He's a versatile player that can play anywhere on the defensive line. A really, really fun piece for the Bucs to get if he falls to them. So I love this pick for Tampa Bay. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's mock draft. Again, chaotic day. A lot went down. You can tell by my voice. I'm a bit sore here, a bit hoarse. I was just screaming to all my friends about what just happened. But this was a lot of fun to make. Don't roast me too hard in the comments. And again, please subscribe. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Draft content all the time. Hope you all are staying safe out there, staying healthy. Take it easy, guys. Peace.